Well, hello, hi, it is me, it is I. Smotan Didi, or Hadi and Dizzy, over internet, and Akastracha, and back hello, yala. It's Tuesday that I sit down to, you guys, I'm catching up. I'm only an episode behind, so I'm gonna get this. When I get this, it's out on time, and when the next episode, Real Housewives of Durban review, episode 4. Okay, I have notes. Standard. Not really, I didn't have notes the other day. But I'm back. Somebody was here at the weekend and they were here for collection and they're like, God, she made my day. She's like, this act, I am here, like randomly, that's how she introduced herself. So I know she's watching my channel. So hey girl. And she said, I said something about being on a diet. She's like, I'm aware you're always on a diet. Like, I started like, cause like honestly guys, I fell off bad. So I've been fell off like for 2 weeks now, but like I am totally back on my diet. I'm having water. Oh my god, I'm stuffed. Anyway, let's get into it. We pick up right where we left off with the girls at that boring 40th that Zama had, and they had just brought about the question, somebody here has faked a hijacking, or a statement rather, because that's not a question, I don't know. And then Amy tries to like disperse the tension, if you would like. Amy's the new girl, and she's like, oh, I think it's you, Jojo. Jojo's like, why me? And she's like, well, you probably did it to get Bube to get you a new one. And she's trying to get past this, because I've not figured out, when this came up, I clocked, like, oh, that's where you know this come from, right? That viral TikTok that she put out about her hijacking. And then Zama really wants to be a dog with a bone. She could have let it go, right? Like in that exact moment, Zama could have been like, oh, okay, then we move on. Then she says, oh, I think it's you. To Amy. Amy's like, me? Why would you think that it's me? And she's like, well, the streets are talking. Guys, yo, I don't like Zama, guys. Yo, I am so sorry if you like her. And if you like her because she's pretty. You don't like her for anything else because her character is fucking whack. I was triggered watching her on screen. Like, I haven't even experienced like gaslighting in relationships. I think to a degree, I think I've shared with you guys, but not like this. But I feel like if you've ever been a person who's been, or if you've ever experienced abuse and gaslighting and things of that nature, watching Zama must be triggering, and it must be really hard. It is. I want her off my screen. That she makes me, I can't do it. I can't fucking do it with her. She says, I think it's you. First of all, Amy let us know that she knows what's going on in the show. She hasn't been on the show long enough to say to Jojo, Bube. You only know that if you're watching the show. Sometimes I get it wrong, and I have to remember if she says Bube or... but anyway, we know she calls them something with a boo. Anyway, so they need to stop coming on here and acting like they don't know what's going on, and we must believe that they don't really know, they don't really watch the show like that. And Zama goes, I googled you because this is my event, and I don't know you, so I had to make sure I know who you are coming into the circle. Mama, you just got here. You just got here. We just know you as the girl who was on SABC1. Like, we don't know you. And nobody at the table. Jojo wasn't like trying to Google you. No, or at least they're not saying that they Googled you. So who the fuck are you to want to vet Amy? Like, it's not even your fucking event like that. It's at a restaurant. It's not even a private room. You're acting like you all are gonna be like braiding each other's hair naked, and so you must know who this person is. No, girl, you're practically at the fucking spur. Like, what are you talking about? She says, yeah, I had to Google you. The streets are talking. Amy gets heated now, right? She's like, listen, why would I fake something like that? Even in the video that I put out, my daughter, my very young daughter, is in the bag reminding me of details that I'm missing, that are, like, things that transpired leading up to that hijacking and on the day, right? The incident her kids were involved and things of that nature. And I'm seeing the wheels turn with Zama. It's literally, it's the same look she had, and please pay attention to it, because it happens throughout the episode when she comes on screen. She has a towel. Now, if I say what the towel is, it might go away. Nah, she's too old. She can't change it. That's not me being ageist, but I'm set in my ways in certain things. Like, and they happen without my permission. There's a song I do when I'm eating, and people know it now, right? There's a little hum that I do when I'm eating and the food is delicious, like a true fatty. Like I'm true to this shit. Like I am, you understand? I'm not new to this, right? So I have a little hum that I do, and everybody in the house, even my friends, some of my friends know it, right? They're like, oh, when you chew, you go. I'm not gonna do the hum for you guys, because you guys are gonna do it back to me when you run into me, and I can't have that, because a lot of you know me in real life. Like, you come to my house. So I don't want people, but I have it, and it's my towel that I'm enjoying what I'm eating. And a lot of you have towels, right? When you're lying about something. Zama she goes into actress mode, right? She pulls the serious, I'm so concerned thing. She did it when they were talking about the fertility stuff with Angel. She pretended not to hear what they were saying. And I'm saying pretended because the towel happened then. But I didn't know she had a towel then, right? She goes, no, what is it? I really want to know. As Amy is saying this, she has the same face, right? Where she's clicking into mode of, oh, let me engage in some weird shit. Like, let me do some, let me move around the optics a little bit and make like what I heard is not there. She did it. She did it there, and she did it later in the episode when she's at lunch with Nonko. I can't explain the exact thing, but it's, let me not dwell on this, but like this scene was tense, right? I am glad Amy came in hot. I'm glad she's not acting like, oh, I'm new to the group, let me like try to be a little demure and little whatever. She rightfully told her, screw you. And then Zama fucking goes, oh, I didn't even invite you. Bitch, shut up. When Slee called you, when you were looking for a decor person, you called Slee. Slee was like, oh, I want to bring my friend with you. We're like, cool. You have her tag there. You have a little place reserved for her because you know she's coming to your little outing over at the fucking Spur. What are you talking about? You knew this woman was coming. Oh, I didn't even call you here. And she's like, screw you, Zama. You should have said, fuck you, bitch. Like, these are the exact words you should have used. Don't hold back. Oh, nobody said you're done recording for this season. You should have been, listen. Where does she get? And then she said, this is, yo, and she got oh, bitch. Like, wow. And then she goes, to, what's her name? To Amy, you're so charged. You fucking see what I'm talking about? You see it? When I'm telling you, she's triggering. If you've ever been in these relationships where a guy, when you confront him about something, it's always a guy, I don't give a shit. You confront him about something, and then he starts like looping you into you now having to prove what you're saying, even though you know it's true, right? And then when you're getting to a point where he's like, you need to calm down. Like intentionally trying to trigger you. Because when I'm heated, telling you to calm down or pointing out that I'm heated, that's fueling the hostilities. That does nothing but fuel the fire. And you know you're doing it. I was like, oh, she's dangerous. I want no parts of her. I want nobody like her in my life. You're so charged. Baby, you accused me of faking a hijacking on fucking camera. I'm telling you how traumatic that event was for me, how I was with my kids, and at no point do you try to walk it back. At no point are you like, oh, I kind of fucked up here with this one. You're not like, you know what, sorry, I didn't realize it was such a sore spot for you. Because also, we're seeing in this episode, Zama's never wrong, and apologizing is not her vibe. She would rather defend and like go down with the fucking ship. That's who we're dealing with here. I can't stand her. Anyway, Jojo and Sosa link up. We haven't seen a scene with just the two of them since the season began. I wouldn't really say, did they have, I feel like most of the beef was with Annie from last season, but Soso being so close to Annie, obviously, you know, the line was drawn, so to speak, you know. They link up to tea or whatever, well, Sorosha's always having tea. But they link up and they talking about the event that had happened and what they're making of it, and then they both apologize. They're like, we didn't really recognize each other last year. So starts the conversation like that. I'm sure you didn't recognize me, and I didn't recognize the person that you were from the person I'd made friends with and stuff, and sort of trying to like bury the hatchet, if you would like. And then she's like, what do you think of the event? Yesterday they talk about Angel, about how when she brought up her issue at the party. Again, I'm not sure if that was the right setting, but also if she was feeling pressed in that moment. Because when something is stressing you out, right, you try to hold it in, but sometimes you want to talk and let it out. And you're sitting at a table with another, like a group of women, you would think they understand where you're coming from. But it's still Zama's party, so maybe it wasn't the right setting, but that's when it happened. And room should have been made for her. Like, just in like a fashion of correctness, room should have been made for her to be, they must listen to her. Let the moment pass. It's not going to be the rest of the evening that we're sitting around and crying, but she would have got it off her chest and maybe, being consoled in some way, but that's not what happened. Zama did that face, so she's like, no, say it. I want to hear. Acting. Please go watch. Acting. She heard her. That whole shit walked away from the cake thing that I thought... Please. And then Sosa's like, you know what, I brought her into the group because I thought she'd be a good fit, and now I'm like, I don't know about this girl, and she's doing things that I don't recognize, and also she's lying about her age. Sosa's a dog with a bone with the age. And then she goes, ooh, you guys, I love when Sarisha's messy, because I can't do the beauty pageant, like, mediator trying to make it, Mother Teresa trying to get along with everybody. No, I like when she's messy. Do be messy. I love it. She gets herself in hot. Oh, my friend called me. I was pacing the yard yesterday, trying to get my steps in bright and early, and my friend calls me and she's like, oh, you're biased. You never ever say anything bad about Sosa. Sosa was messy last season. I don't know what you guys are talking about, but like, she says to me, I'm forgetting that Sine actually confessed to Sarisha about the things she had said about Annie to Jojo in terms of Annie sleeping her way up last season. But Soso didn't go back and tell Annie that in that exact fashion that Sine had said it to her. And I'm like, I see what you're saying there. So I'll work on that. Anyway, Sarisha goes, yeah, and I'm not the one who's had like countless like men deny her. And then in her confessional, her little fit, like with the fringe, it's very fitting for when she's being a cunning bitch. Like, I love it. Like, she's like, well, there are articles and articles. It's, it's public document number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like, it's known. Slews of men have said that's why they even wanted to be in a relationship with her. I'm telling you now, if this is how, there's no way you turn it on and off. This is the fact she is. She's like manipulative and like freaking insufferable. If this is how she shows up in relationships, I see why the men are saying, nah, dog. And me, I don't take men seriously. Usually when men say, she did this, I'm like, you're lying. Truly. Because that's what they say when we say stuff. But watching her behavior, I can't imagine having to live your life with a person like that. She's never going to be wrong. And it's not about keeping score and being right and wrong. But this, guys, Soso and Zama, yeah, they discussed the angel thing, but that's it. Amy and her Cece. I also recognize the Cece person, and I don't know from where. I probably should have just searched her, but I'll look her up when I'm done recording this. They are sitting down at Amy's house. You see how we've seen where Amy lives. This is her second episode, and I think we've been seeing Zama from episode 1, quite early on at the salon, and then she was invited to the burn station. She's been since we just got to see Amy, I think the last episode, and we're seeing where the girl resides. We haven't seen where Zama resides, and it's not a coincidence. It's not, no. I told you guys last episode that why don't we know how she's living or where she's living. But okay, we'll see as the season goes. We've been to everybody's home. We've literally been to I'm not playing, guys. We see Sarisha doing what was she hosting the ladies for? Was she at the dog in the pool? It doesn't matter. We know Soso is a house. In this episode, we actually get a tour of of Miss Jojo's new house. We see Nonko at her home all the time. Big up to Nonko has been in the same house since season 1. So Nonko has not come on the show and tried to fake a lifestyle that's not hers. Let's take notes. I'm not saying the other women are. I'm just saying C has moved, but we've seen where she's living now, right? We're seeing where Amy's living now. The Zama, where does Zama live? We've seen Angel at a residence. I think it's the residence she shares with her boyfriend, but we've also seen her go to see her mom and her aunt to discuss the fact that she's getting married. But Zama, where do you live? Where do you live, Lala? Alright. Amy and Sissy, and they're talking about her divorce, and she's like, she doesn't want her kids or doesn't want her ex having access to the kids because she feels like it's never in their best interest and he didn't protect them. So she doesn't feel like he has the kids' interests at heart. She also explains that her kids are in boarding school, and they're in boarding school because she's going through a lot and she didn't want her kids seeing her in shambles, seeing her in that state. She wanted to gather herself. That's good on you, mama. Good on you for protecting your kids and removing them from things that could scar them for life. I mean, it's important that children see you cry and pick yourself up in a healthy manner, that they understand that they learn to regulate their emotions by watching you navigate and regulate your own emotions, right? So they're like, oh, okay, you cry and then you let it out, and it's okay that you do that and you move on. But like sometimes when you are really, really going through it, it causes more harm, I feel, for your children to witness you in that state for a prolonged period, you not being able to get out of bed. So if you can afford to remove them from the situation in order to spare them, that's probably ideal. You know, and I feel like that's what Amy is saying that she's done here. Then she lets Cece know about what happened with Zama, and she's like, okay, oh girl, and like for real, she has no idea who I am. Like, do not give me another mugshot. So, oops. Are you dangerous, ma'am? I better not say not one bad thing about Amy on here. You guys know I'll drag her if she does something right. Okay. Zama Nonko. Oh, yo, I was heated. You guys, this scene, oh my God. They arrive at this restaurant that looks better than, where did they say she had a thing at a, doesn't matter, girl. It doesn't matter. Her 40th may as well have it like a jungle gym at the back. I don't care. But like, she arrives and she's like, oh, you didn't bring me a present. I thought you'd make up for not bringing me a birthday present at my party. Apparently people weren't aware that the event was her birthday. They thought it was just like a lunch, like a, I don't know, girl. I don't know what the invitation said. But as for her saying the peacock about like bringing out your, that's what she said, that's, what did she, it doesn't matter, but something about like your hidden potential or showing your, like exploring your hidden potential, and her saying hers is to spread God's word. You're spreading word, right? But like it's not godly. You're spreading rumors and fucking lies, it seems. Okay, trying to be a little bone carrier over here. They link up at this thing, and then Nonko says to her, you know how you handle things with Angel? I mean, how things unfolded there with Amy and you continuing, and even when you learned that her kids were involved, and understanding that like it's such a trigger, sore point for her. She's like, I understand triggers. I understand. I don't think you're interested in knowing me. You had preconceived notions when you got. She's so rehearsed. She you know when you know you fucked up, and when you link with somebody, you know they're gonna bring it up, so you have your points together, but they don't make sense because you're trying to bark an argument that doesn't exist. And she's though like, yeah, I've experienced a smash and grab. If she's lying about such thing, why are you continuing with the narrative of her being a liar? She's like, yeah, why was she so heated? Why was she so chopped? I feel like you don't really want to get to know me. If you did, we would talk about what we have in common, which is our love for God. A lot of you really think that's a personality trait, don't you? It's not. A lot of you are hiding behind that. See, the difference between Nonko, who's not my favorite person, and this like venomous person, the difference difference is that Nonko is not malicious, right? I don't think she doesn't have this kind of malice. She's just not self-aware or aware overall and stunted in her growth. I've said this to you guys throughout the last season as well, that something happened, and it's probably the abuse that she's experienced. We also spoke about this last season, that you're in survival mode so long that you stunt, like your growth stops and you're maladjusted, and your social cues are a little bit off. Even from the first season, you know, she just has word diarrhea sometimes. Sometimes she says the wrong thing, you know, but like it never feels like she's being like malicious. Zama knows she's being a calculating, gaslighting bitch. She actually knows it, and you see it on her face. Oh, but she runs with it full steam, guys. If she's lying about it, okay. And then at the end, she's like, yeah, I don't think you really want to get to know. No, because like, no, I do want to get to know you, unless that's not what you're interested in anymore. Then she goes, well, I think we should take it baby steps. Now she wants Nonko to audition for a friendship with her. Baby, don't nobody want to be friends with you. Nobody wants to be friends with you. Like, girl, have you seen how you're showing up? I don't even know why Nonko said she's still interested in getting to know her. Slee has a spa date with her girls. They go for the foot rubs, and she's asking them about her journey, her spiritual journey, what they think of it, how they've adjusted to it. I've mentioned on here, if you're new, you probably don't know, I was raised very much like this, right? I was raised by my maternal grandmother from like age 3 months to 6 years. And she's like a girl who grew up in the Lutheran church, so that was my foundation. I go to church, I do Sunday school, I did all of that. And then I had to come and live with my parents when I started like big school. And my dad, you know, as an African man, does these like practices and things like that. My mom was raised by the woman who raised me for the first 6 years of my life. So my parents did a great job in not making us feel like we have to choose. They just exposed us to both, and at the end you decide what it is that you want to go with. And they did a great job at that. For me, the pressure was always external, in that like African practices have always been demonized, like Christians go out of their way. And people are trying to like remove that stigma in recent years, if you would like. But existing in the dominant culture, which is the Christian culture, right? It's in our schools. It's everywhere. It's very acceptable. It's the palatable thing. You want to go and fit in there, right? But then you grow the fuck up, like I did. And I'm just like, no, it's not. There's no resonance here for me. I gotta go. But she's asking her kids about like that tug of war, if they struggled with it because their dad's side is super Christian or whatever. And the little one explains that, you know, no, like we want to be able to support you as well and come around you and see these experiences. And she says to them, I'm new to this as well. I'm navigating it. And this was a great conversation for me. I love seeing her with her girls. I also like seeing Nonko with her daughter. This was a good scene. Jojo and Boo Bear talk about something. You know what? Boo Bear is a good sport. He's the only husband that really participates, and maybe he has the time, or he does it because Jojo is nothing else going on. So like, what would they film in her life? I don't know why he does it, but he does great at it. And the other husbands are far too busy, I suppose, and also other people aren't partnered. But he's literally the only husband that gives us screen time. I guess that's why we get so much of it. Anyway, they were talking about her art, and he's like, now when I manage the art, because you keep donating the money that you get from the paintings, and let's see if we can actually make it a viable business. Again, I keep forgetting to go and check on Jojo's page what the artwork looks like, but I think it's some abstract shit. Like, I don't know what she's putting out, but I'll go and look. Is it like when the girls just like smear paint? You know, they can afford some high quality paint, and then they just like throw it on a canvas. You know that bitch with a mop that angers all the painters, and then they get a mop and they do a squiggle. Baby, when I tell you the people are laundering money, and then people just decide the value of that fucking canvas with the stroke of like a mop is now like millions and millions. Okay, let's run with it. The fuck? shows up at Nonko's house where we see where she lives, you see. And then they're talking about whatever event that they're putting together. She's like, it's such a milestone for her. And Bianca's like, your mom wants to be on the program. She wants to speak and stuff. And they have a little cackle about that. You know, sometimes I find Mom Queen like awfully hard to watch, right? I know that's somebody's mom and I ought to be a bit respectful, but I'm like, oh my God, get off my screen. Angel links up with So-So. They link up. By the way, can Angel stop wearing that shade of foundation? I beg. And it can't be the lighting because it's happening in every scene. It's like, it's got a very, I don't think that, is the shade match off or does it have a very heavy yellow undertone? I don't know what it is, but in every scene, and she's wearing a sham kalaka, that is her foundation, she's not letting go. And it can't be in every scene where I'm like, maybe it's the lights. The lights did what? The poor lights now. We must blame that. The way you guys are always blaming the devil for stuff, now I must blame the lights. It's not the lights. Why is it in every scene that like, stop it. Anyway, she links up with So-So and So-So's like, how are you doing? They're having tea. And So-So then apologizes and really gives her a moment to cry. And I think she needed this. She's a crybaby like me, right? Like we're very like, wow, like, and then we're, what's wrong with us? And you know, and she apologizes that we should have given you a moment at the table. I'm sorry for how your plight was dismissed because this is such a serious thing. This group of women should be able to rally behind you and hold your hand and be delicate with you and stuff. And then she explains Maria's behavior. She's like, you know, in terms of Maria coming for you the way she did at that little shindig that one had over there, I think it's because of everything that happened last season with the bone caring and this one saying this and this one saying that. So maybe she's just choosing the season to come direct at a person so that this thing doesn't snowball and grow like legs and have a life of its own and go on its period and like pay a mortgage. Like she's trying to avoid that. Angel. What is going on with you? Angel then says, I get why she did that because I was wrong. I was like, girl, I think I was defending. When I was watching this, I was like, oh, I think I just defended this bitch. Why did I do that? Well, I was a bit wrong, you know. Or I could be Zama about it and just go, yeah. But Angel says, no, we were talking about something. She did mention Ruan and Jojo and that issue, but there was no malice in her mention of it. And maybe how I delivered, or not maybe, how I delivered the message, or when it came up and I mentioned that she spoke about this, my delivery may have made it sound like there was ill intent in, or rather there was malice in how she was talking about it, whereas there wasn't. And I owe her an apology and I apologized. My issue is she's harping on it, and I feel like I said sorry. Like you can't. It's fine not to accept my apology, but if I apologize, that's how I feel. For you to continuously bring it up, like it's no amount of sorry that's gonna quench whatever it is you're experiencing, right? So what do we do now? Where do we go? Where do we move? But Angel was wrong for that. She was being a little shit stirrer and it blew up in her face. JoJo's party. She's having like a Wild West or a country themed thing. She's like a mechanical bull there and everything. Nonko shows up first. I like her fit. Like it's in theme, you know. They have their little cowboy boots and their hats and lots of denim and fringe and like plaid. It's a plaid, like the checkered thing. I think it is. Anyway, people trickle in. Guys, Designer Zuma is at the house. We've seen that he's friends with Nonko. It would make sense why he comes around them because she's such good friends with Jojo now. But he's at the bar. He's at Bube's house and they are at the bar and they make sure to give him some camera time. Like Design is here. Like he said hi to So-So, I think, when So-So arrived. We learned that Sarisha is not going to stay for the party. She says she's a family gathering. Her family members have come in from Cape Town and she wants to spend some time with them. And we get a house tour. It turns out the house has an Instagram page. I haven't seen it. It's such a modern build, very contemporary in the design choices that they've made there. It's a beautiful house. She does a little tour for everybody. See, we know where Jojo lives. We're seeing it. She did a house tour. Other people we don't know. But anyway, they played games, and Zama arrived wearing sneakers, but everything else was in theme, I suppose. I feel like even a regular brown boot would have done better than those fucking sneakers, I swear. And then they are in the garden, they're on the ball. Jojo jumps on the thing, they play games, like a tug thing. It's a whole vibe. And then, is it when they playing or after? Guys, I was shocked. But also like, because Miss Annie arrived. I'm like, bitch, not again, babe. Like, they kept this under wraps. They did a good job. Annie arrives. Annie's looking snatched. Annie looks like she's lost a little bit of weight. I'm not gonna ask her what she did. She looks like she gyms. Those are the answers we don't want. I want to hear about some tea you drank. I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm like this. Annie arrives, she looks gorgeous. First of all, it's unexpected because of where her and Jojo left things for her to like come back into the fray by coming to Jojo's party. So Jojo would have had to invite her, or crew told her, what is this? But everybody is receptive, everybody's happy to see her. And I'm like, what capacity is she back in? Is she friend of the show? Was she just filming the scene for the house opening? But she's a confessional. She looks gorgeous in a confessional. That like red lipstick, love it, right? What if she's friend of the show? Typically, when somebody's friend, historian here. Typically, when somebody's friends of the show, they don't have to share as much of their lives because it's like less episodes, which means less money. It's not like they're not trying to get into your life like that. You're supporting cast essentially. So I don't know, which means then she wouldn't have to tell us about like her finances, and we wouldn't have to know that she doesn't have a pen car anymore or something. But anyway, Miss Annie arrives and everybody's excited to see her. Anyway, they're going to sit down, and at the beginning, when Nonkwe just arrived, her and Jojo had a chat, and Jojo was like, that thing is happening again where we're scattering and things are bubbling and happening under, and they're going to snowball and they're going to take over, and there's going to be miscommunication, and we're not going to know who said what, and this is that. So we must nip it in the bud. We need to sit down today and bring the conversations to the fore and hash this shit out. So anyway, she's like, it's her house. She welcomes everybody. They're now sitting around the table and stuff, and she's like, first, Angel, I'd like to apologize for what had happened at Zama's thing, where we didn't give you an opportunity to, fully get it out about your fertility issues and stuff. We should have given you room to do that. Slee agrees, and she also says, and she's like, Georgia's like, I don't like how Zama dismissed of you. That was not very nice. Slee says, you know what, yes, we should have given you room to do that. But I feel like Zama had gone out to fetch her cake, so when she came back into the conversation, she didn't know where we were. Amy jumps in and says, no, we informed her. She asked what's going on, and we told her, and she said, let me cut my cake first. Which is exactly what happened. And then, Jojo started by saying, I don't know if you hate Angel or what's going on, but you're going around the group calling everybody except Maria. I think Maria is the only person that hasn't had one of these special phone calls. And you've been saying things about this girl, about Angel behind her back, like her businesses on hers, how she's just like, basically mommy and daddy find her life and she makes like these are her things. And you've gone around making these calls to everybody. Now, at this particular moment, I don't know how I feel about it. I can't say, is it an ambush, or is it well-deserved, right? Is it a gang up? Is it an ambush? Were they supposed to speak to her individually? But we've seen what happened. She and Nonko went to lunch and she gaslit the fuck out of Nonko, not even giving her a chance to speak or explain her point of view in terms of where she's coming from with the Amy situation. So I don't know, guys. What was supposed to happen here? I don't know. But she she sits there like, as they're talking about this, Angel then goes on to say, I have my own businesses. If you go into that relevant registries, you'll find that I'm on there. And the business are in my name. My parents have their own shit. I have my own stuff. I need you to stop speaking on me. I need you to not even mention my parents. You don't know either one of us like enough for you to have the kind of strong opinions that you have, you know. And then Zama says in the confessional, it's unfair. I feel like Jojo invited me to her home so she could have like home ground advantage, if you would like, because what I look like yelling back at her in her home. That's not why, girl. You know you've been messy and you're getting caught in your messiness. Now, so then she throws Nonko under the bus. She's like, but Nonko, weren't you the one who also said that this girl doesn't know anything about construction? She could only know that from So-So. Unless we didn't see in scene when they had the lunch, but they would have included that. She can only know that from So-So because Nonko said it to Sarisha when they had their little pottery painting session. Ooh, not So-So. Carrying the fuck about, taking this here and there. I love it. Angel got very, very heated. I think probably coupled with the fact that she was dismissed the way she was about her issue. Mind you, Zama might have a similar issue. And I think when she started talking, she was like, first of all, the reason I did that, and then she cut herself short and she says to Jojo, first of all, Jojo, I didn't know I hated Angel. I think she was about to talk about how she has a similar issue because remember, she said she got some fibroids removed around COVID and she's been wanting to go back to the doctors and check if everything is okay. I don't know. Amy then also says, I also went home and Googled you since you're such a Googler. I also went home and I did my homework and I know a lot about you down to who you're sleeping with right now. I really hope this doesn't turn into the kind of show where we insult each other by like the men we deal with and things like that. Because that shit is very lowbrow for me. Like, argue about some real shit. Annie's just sitting there. She says in her confessions, I'm so glad I'm not part of this mess. Is this what the fuck it looks like to be in this house? I loved her for just being there and looking back and forth like, ooh. You know when there's mess and you're not part of it and you're like, ooh, that's spicy, ooh. That was Annie the entire time. But I'm glad to have her back. I've missed her. I enjoy her a lot. Yo, you guys don't like Annie. Yo, guys. Yo, I saw people on TikTok saying things like, oh, she really thought she did something. She didn't think anything. The producers set that up, guys. But anyway, I hope she's back for the rest of the season. And I hope we actually get to see what's going on in her life. Because that's what a good housewife is supposed to do. Nonko will show us. Anyway. Bye,